Hey, my name is Kayla and I'm a founder. I started out using Google Sheets and I'm now using Trello. For more reviews like this, check out the links below. So I use Google Sheets almost daily to organize everything from organizing the videos that I'm trying to upload to YouTube and making sure that I understand the dates and all of those sorts of things to keeping track of my business analytics. And making sure that I've got records of all of that going forward. On the flip side, I use Trello to track projects over time, particularly with podcasting. I use that to create a separate card for each episode and move those cards on through until the podcast is done being published. In my experience, Trello is best used for tracking segmented projects over time. So, what I really love about being able to use Trello for those sorts of things is that you can create lists and checklists within each individual card. So then you can check those off and then move the cards through columns to depict really quickly at a glance where that project is as far as completion goes. I find Google Sheets to be extremely versatile and powerful, but overall, in my experience, Google Sheets, it's a spreadsheet. You can use it to create charts and keep track of projects, but um, for anything that's a little bit more visually striking, it's not going to be my go-to. It's not super intuitive at a glance, but it is really powerful for crunching numbers and keeping track of to-do lists there as well. Getting started with Google Sheets was incredibly easy for me, partially because we actually learned how to use both Google Sheets and other versions like the Microsoft version of Sheets in elementary school through high school and middle school as well. So by the time I entered the workforce, I was already extremely familiar with Google Sheets. And while there are some aspects of it that aren't necessarily as intuitive, and I often find myself clicking around to different parts of it to maybe find the exact sort of formatting I'm looking for, because it is so widespread, I actually found it pretty easy to get started because there's so many tutorials, there's so much formal education available. On the flip side, Trello, I did not learn how to use Trello in elementary school, but they do have a pretty good onboarding program to help make sure that you understand the best uses for it and how to get started. Um, Trello does have a variety of add-ons that you can use. You do have to kind of pick a couple add-ons if you're using it at the free level like I am. So sometimes you run into bumps with functionality that either are related to the fact that you don't know how to use the software fully or because you haven't paid to upgrade. But overall, both have seemed to be pretty easy to get started. Trello has really good onboarding procedures, and Google Sheets is just so ubiquitous that most people are relatively familiar with it, even if they haven't used it yet, just because of the Microsoft versions. At this point, when I'm looking for new software, I'm looking for something that I can transfer over to easily if I'm leaving a software. Um, Especially if I've already got a bunch of ongoing projects, I don't want to have to spend hours or days migrating all of my projects over. And then on top of that, the other thing I'm looking for is really making sure that any software I'm switching to complements or supplements or completely replaces something that I've already got. So I'm unlikely to use two softwares that are the exact same in any way. It is going to have to be something that is a big upgrade or addition as far as functionality goes. The only exception to that would be if a client of mine uses something that I don't currently use and it's just required that I learn how to use that software for the client, then I obviously will do that as well.